All right, so I'm trying again to record this lecture um, so that other students can also get access to these lectures. Yeah, so I'm just going to open up my compiler. It's taking, yeah, I'm already in. So let me repeat this program again. In this lecture, we'll be working with all kinds of loops. We'll be creating some programs. We'll be writing some programs. And so in this practice set, the first program we've got is that write a program to print 10 digits from 1 to 20, to print digits from 1 to 20. Do this program using all kinds of loops. So we have to make the same program using different kinds of loops, and you guys would see the result that would be definitely same. So we can take almost the same work from all kinds of loops, but we have discussed some of the differences between among them in previous lecture. I'm sure that you guys know about those main differences. So first of all, I will do this program by using for loop. So let me just modify this comment. Write a program to print digits from 1 to 20 using for loop. Right, so first of all, let me erase this previous program. And so what we do in for loop, first of all, I have to simply write the for keyword for, and then in parentheses we have to set the counter. So int I equals to 1, and then if I is less than or equal to, if I is less than 10 or equal, if I is less than or equal to 10, I plus plus, and then let's make the body of the for loop. So in here I'll have to simply write, now I will have to write I here and then end line. So this is just this simple program, and let me compile this program and see how it's working. So yeah, now it's compiling and would see the result. So yeah, it's almost done. Now I'm just going to run this program by pressing F10 to see that I got my result. But now I've got the result. I got my digits on the screen, but it starts from 1 to 10. But I need it to get the digits up to 20. So I'll just have to modify this condition. Now let's recompile it by pressing F9. Again, guys, if you have any question, go to the chat option and ask your question. You're free to ask any question related to this session. So now I've run my code again, and it's pretty done. I've got digits from 1 to 20. So how this loop works, let's try run it. First of all, the I value is initialized with 1. Then I've set the condition, which means this in this loop we will be having 20 iterations, exactly 28 iterations. Then I value also increments by 1 in each iteration. So in the body, we'll just discuss this part, that I have printed the value of I. So initially, the I value we have in the first iteration is 1, so 1 will be printed. Then we have a line break. So in the second iteration, the I value will be incremented. So once this is incremented, I value will be having 2 in the second iteration. Then the condition will be checked, right? Condition will be checked. So the condition will remain true in the second iteration up to 20, right? But if this I value becomes equal to 21, then the condition will be false. So then this program, then this loop will be terminated. So I have printed the value of I, and this changes during each iteration. That's why I get the output as 1 to 20. So this is the first program. This is the first program. You guys are requested not to write anything on the screen. Otherwise, you guys will be removed from this session. Thank you. So I've got my result of this program, and I will have to write this program by using while loop now. I'm sure there you guys have no question. If you have any question, go to the chat option and ask your questions. Thank you. So let's do it with while loop. Let me remove this part. I'll just type while. First of all, let me initialize the value here outside the while loop, and I equals to 1, suppose, and then we have the condition I is less than or equal to 10. And in the while body, we'll just simply write the same code, which is cout I, and then end line, and then I'll increment the value of I by 1. So man, if you have a problem with the lecture, if you're not getting, if my voice is not reaching to you, maybe there is a problem with your inner connection, because everything is fine from my side. Yeah. So let me compile the program, and as you guys can see that now it's compiling, it's done. Let me run it. So I got the digits from 1 to 10 again. I'll have to modify this 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 thing here. I'll have to modify the condition using while loop. Let me change this while loop, and now let me recompile it by pressing F9. All right, let me press F10. As you guys can now see the result on the screen, that I've made the same programs using while loop. Now let's do this program by using do while loop. So how do we use do while loop? So this is the body of do while loop, cout I, and then end line, right? And then I will increment the value of I, which I haven't defined yet, and I equals to 1. And that's it. Now we have to set the condition here down below. Phi is less than or equal to 20. That's it. So let's press F9. So now compilation is being done, and you guys can see the result again on the screen. You guys can see the actual result that I got the same result. I got the digits from 1 to 20. Let me run it once again. You guys can see the result here. There's a problem. Yeah, now it's done, guys. You can see the result. I've got my digits from 1 to 20. So this was the first program. I'm sure you guys have no question. And this is the same mechanism. This is being printed first. The I value is incremented by 1. Then the condition is being checked. If the condition is true, this process repeats, and it continues until the given condition is true. When it turns to be false, the while loop or the do while loop will be terminated. So that was the first program, and we're done with it. So I will just save it, and let me close it. Let me rename this file 1 to 20, and I'll make a copy of it. And now we have second program. What is the second program? We have the second program. Write a program to take input and print its table. You guys can see that it's now quite interesting. We will be using concept of loops in order to print a table of any table. That can be 2 table, that can be 5 table. It all depends on the user, and that value will be taken from the user of the table that we want to print on the screen. So I will just give it a name. I will name it as table generator, and let me just open it up. So it's done. Let me erase the previous program, and let me change this caption here. write a program, uh, write a program, or let me just copy from here and paste it right here. So this is the comment so that others can also know what this program really does. So now we have to use, you can use any loop here, but I'm going to use for loop here. So how this is going to be, first of all, we have to declare some variables, which is table. That would be in this table variable, I will be storing the value that what table the user wants to print. So first of all, I will give a message to the user, enter number to print its table, enter number to print its table, right? And then I'll use C an object here and store its value in table variable. So it's done. Now I've got the value that what table the user wants to print on the screen. So now let's use for loop in I equals to 1. We have the condition I is less than or equal to 10. I is less than or equal to 10, then I plus plus. Let's make the body for loop. And now we have to, here is the tricky part. First of all, I have to print the table variable. Suppose we got 2 from the user. So 2 will be printed. Then this sign will be printed multiplied by, and then I will be printed. Then this sign is going to be printed equal sign. Yep, equal operator, and then we have to get the result. So how we are going to get the result? We have to multiply the table value by I here, and that's it. And now we will just end this slide. So let's see the result, if it's working or not. I'm confirmed from my side that this program is going to work. So let's just print it. Enter to print its table. Now we have to enter any digit. Suppose 5. As you guys can see, this powerful tool, we have used loops to print the table, right? So it's 5 table. I've printed the 5 table by just using few lines of code, by using loop concept. I've printed the table of 5. You guys can check this code. Let's rerun it. And now I want to print the table of 2. So I'll just enter 2 and you guys can see this awesome results. So how this program works, let's try to run it. First of all, I got the value from the user. Suppose the user enters 2 as I entered 2 here. So that 2 would be printed here. Then X will be printed, which is a sign of multiplication, you can say. And then the value of I would be printed. So in the first iteration, we have the I value equals to 1. So 1 will be printed. Then this sign will be printed on the screen, which is here. And then table variable. In the first iteration, we have the table value equal to 2. So 2 right up here, 2 multiplied by I. So initially the I value we have 1. So 2 multiplied by 1 equals to 2. We got 2 here. So in the second iteration, we'll be having I value equals to 2. So the table variable will be again printed. Then this sign will be printed, multiplication symbol. Then I value will be printed, which is 2 in the second iteration. Then equal sign will be printed. Then that 2 would be multiplied by table variable. So we have 2, the table variable, which I have got from the user. So 2 multiplied by I. So in the second iteration, you guys can see that in second iteration, I get 4. I got 4 here because 2 multiplied by 2 equals to 4. This continues until the condition remains true. When the condition turns to be false, the loop is terminated. So you can see this powerful tool. I've printed the table just by using loop concept. So you can do the same program using other loops. You can go with while loop, even do while loop, any of them will work. So that was the second program, and we have the third program. Let's check it out. The third program is here. Find even number in range 1 to 100 using for loop, and find odd numbers in the same range 1 to 100 using while loop. So just in the single program, first of all, we have to print values, even numbers in range from 1 to 100 using for loop. And in the same program down below, we have to use while loop in order to print ordered numbers in the same range, which is 1 to 100. Is this program understood? I'm sure the answer is yes. So let's get started. How do we do that? Let me just make a copy of it, even and odd, and I will just enclose here loop, so everybody can know that I'm just going to make a use of loop again here. So let me just open my compiler. Let me just copy it up. So this is the third program that I'm just going to write here. Yeah, let me just and we have to use backslash and then this sign here in order to comment it out. Yeah, I'm done. So first of all, let me erase the previous program. So how do we find even numbers and odd numbers? So first of all, we have to use even numbers. Let me make a comment here, even numbers using for loop, right? So how do we do that? For, and suppose int I equals to 1, and then we have I is less than or equal to 100, then I plus plus. And now what we have to do, we have to simply apply the if condition here. If I modulus by 2 equals to 0, if the remainder is 0, if the I value divided by 2 and it gives remainder 0, just show this value. That's simple. See out, just print the value of I, and also break the line. And now else what we have to do here, see out, right? The caps is on, that's why. So see out. All right, just don't do anything because we don't have to print odd numbers. So we just have to get the value. We have to print even numbers using for loop. So let's see if it's working. And you guys can definitely check out the result here on the screen. All the values I got in range from 1 to 100, or all of these are even numbers, means they are completely divisible by 2. So you guys can check it out. This is the result of the first section of this program, that I got all the even numbers from 1 to 100. So how this works? Well, as you guys can see that this program, this for loop will be executed 100 times, because this is how I've set the condition here. So this will be executed 100 times, and you guys can see that it's very fast. It's extremely fast. It gives me result just in 1 second, right? So it's extremely fast. So then I've applied a condition that if I value in the first iteration we have 1 divided by 2, then it will check the remainder. So if the remainder is 0, that would be printed on screen. If the remainder is other than 0, then that would not be printed, that would be skipped. So this is how we get all of these even numbers in range from 1 to 100. Is there any question? If there is any question, Just ask me and I'll give you answer. Now we have to print odd numbers using while loop, because in the question we've been told that just make a use of while loop in the second part. So odd numbers using while loop. While, let me just give a caption here. Following are the odd numbers in range 1 to 100. That's it. And a backslash in order to break the line. And this is it. Now we'll continue our process here. And x equals to 1 while x is less than or equal to 100, because I also want the while loop to be executed 100 times, because we have the range 1 to 100. So as you guys can see that this is the counter, as I said in the previous lectures. X value initially is 1, and that would be incremented 100 times, you can say, or 99 times. So if x modulus 2 equals to 0, print that value, cout x and then end line. This is it. And we have to do the incrementation as well. So x plus plus. And now I'm just going to run this program again in order to see the result. Am I getting odd numbers as well? So I made a mistake here. I have to use not equal to. If the reminder is not equal to 0, that means that's an odd number. So just print that. So now you guys can see that the first numbers are even numbers, and the second list we're having following are the odd numbers in range 1 to 100. So now you guys can check it out. All of these numbers are odd. 1 is an odd number, 3 is odd number, 5 is odd number, because they are not completely divisible by digit 2. So you guys can check this result. We've got all the even numbers from 1 to 100 and all the odd numbers from 1 to 100 by using 2 types of loops for each operation, and I got my actual result. So that means I'm done with the third program as well. So let me just save it. I'm sure there are no questions. If you have any question, go to the chat option and ask your question. I'm sure you guys have no questions because I'm not getting any question. So I'll move on to the next topic, the next program. Let me make a copy of it and I'll just rename it triangle. So see, what is the last program? That's literally interesting. Print the following structure using do while loop. Now here's the concept of nested loops, right? So you see that outer loop is used to, the outer loop is used to print the rows. These are the rows. Outer loop is used to print the rows, and the inner loop is to print the columns, means that would print the values in column wise. X would be printed, star would be printed, then another star would be printed. So that's how we deal with that. Yeah, so let's work with it. Yeah, so actually the outer loop is used to break each row, right? So the outer loop will work to break each row, and the inner loop will work to print each star one by one. So let's get started and let's deal with it. And remember, we have to use do while loop. So how it's going to be? Well, let me remove the previous program and then let me make a caption here. So we have to print this on our screen. We have to print them on our screen here. All right. What the heck, man? Why both of them are being removed? Gosh. All right, just see that here. It's just consuming my time. You guys can check it out here. We have to print this structure. So first of all, let me make the structure here. So do while loop. As I say that we have to use the concept of nested loops here. So do, and then here we have while. So this is actually the outer loop. And now here we have inner loop. We have here inner loop. And the condition for this one is right up here. So as you guys can now see that this is the outer loop and this is the inner loop. So now I have to initialize two values. For the outer loop, I will initialize n(i) equals to 1. And for inner loop, x equals to 1 as well. And the outer loop, I is less than or equal to 6 here. The same goes here. Yep, I is less than, and then we'll be using I variable here. I is less than or equal to I. And then here, and then now here we'll use cout. In this loop, we have to use cout end line. And then we have it in the inner loop, we'll print the star operator, the star symbol here. And then I'll just increment the value of x, right? Right, I'm a little bit confused. So that will be printed. This will break the line here. That this outer loop will be executed six times because we have 6 rows here. And in each line, inner loop will be executed according to the outer loop, according to the value of I. So in the first iteration, 1 star will be printed. In second iteration, 2 stars will be printed. In third iteration, 3 stars will be printed, and so on. So this is it. Now I have to increment the value of I. So let's see if it's working. I'll press F9 and F10. It's not working. Well, let's see. First of all, the condition for outer loop is here. It is I here. I is less than or equal to 6. Then this one, if one value int x and then x plus plus, all right, I got the result, but all of these I got just single star in each line. So why is this happening? I equals to 1 here, and I is less than or equal to 6. I values being you can say I values being incremented by 1 each time the loop executes. And then I've printed this one here, and I've incremented the value of x. So if x is less than or equal to 1, why we're having this error? I equals to 1, x equals to 1. Well, I guess I have this program already. I'm just confused here. So let me see if I have this program already ready. I'm just going to check it out here. It's not here, practice. Well, I want to do it with for loop. For int I equals to 1, I is less than or equal to 6, I plus plus. And then we have the inner loop, int I equals to 1, int x equals to 1, x is less than or equal to I, and then x plus plus, and just print the out, print the value, print the star here, and then we have n line here in the outer loop in order to break the row, each row. And that's it, I guess. I is less than or equal to 6. And that was the old program. Let me recompile it. And you guys can check out the result. I've made my program. I've finally written the code to print this here on my screen. Let me show you. I've got the actual result here by using for loops. And I didn't make a use of do while loop. I just got a little bit confused there. Yeah, there was some problem, but I got my actual result and it's working fine. So you see that first of all, I initialize the value of I with 1, then I set my condition, and then I value is being incremented by 1. So that means this outer loop will be executed 6 times, means 6 rows will be printed. And then in inner loop, which is used to print the columns, so the first x value initializes with 1, and then I've set the condition such that in the first turn, for 1 star will be printed. In the second turn, 2 stars will be printed, because I said that if x is less than or equal to I. So in the second iteration, we'll be having I value 2, right? That's why the inner loop will be executed 2 times, and that would print 2 stars, and then 3 stars in the third iterations, and so on. When this condition turns to false, then the loop would definitely be terminated. So this is how we use it. And why do we use cout end line here in the outer loop? In order to break this column, right? So you see that outer loop is being executed 6 times in this case. So that means 6 break lines will be having 6 new lines here. So 1 line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, and sixth line. So that's the concept of printing that triangle. And I don't know why I got an error while doing it with do while loop, but let me just try it out. I just got a bit confused there. And then we have while loop, we have while, we have condition here. So now first of all, let me set the value of, let me set the outer condition. So let's convert it into that one. I is less than or equal to 6. And then in the inner condition, we have x is less than or equal to I. So now I have to define 2 values, and I equals to 1 and int x equals to 1. Because initially I value and x value is initialized to 1. So the I value is being, and then we have to break the line. So I'll use cout end line, and right up here I'll print that, which is star, which is a star variable, which is the star symbol, and then I have to increment the value of x here, and then also I have to increment the value of I. So I plus plus. Let me see why it was having some problems, but we're done with the problem, right? No problem if we have made a use of for loop. I'll just clearing the concept of nested loop, and I'm done with that. So you see that we're still getting this result. So there's again some problem, but anyway, we'll explain it next time. But we got a result by using nested for loop, and you guys can see the result. That was all for now. Thank you guys for taking your time, and I will see you guys next time.